Okay, this is part 5 of the Excel DSS project. Today we're going to work on creating a buffer, and then if we have time, we'll work on the final part, or at least part 1 of the final part, on the accuracy of the model. So let's first create a buffer. Now what a buffer is going to do is give us a little wiggle room. Since our r squared is not a perfect 1, my r squared was 0.95, which is really good. I'm sure yours is different, but I would highly doubt anyone had a perfect 1. We're going to create a little buffer in that we're going to kind of play cautiously, I guess, where if the predicted price is within a range of the actual price, we'll buy, sell, or then hold. And that should give us a little bit more hold, a little bit more freedom when it comes to the summary table and when to make a decision. So to do that, we are going to create a buffer cell. We're going to type in the word buffer. Let's do that in cell H31. Just type in the word buffer with an equal sign. And then next to it, let's put a value of, let's say, 0.01. So we're going to have a 1% buffer. Okay. And while we're at it, let's highlight I31, right-click, format the cell, and make it a percentage. Okay. So 0.01 is a 1% buffer. Now it's very important that we memorize these cells. This is H31 and I31. I31 especially, because that will be the buffer. Now, what we want to do is we want to apply this buffer of 1%. We want to apply it back into the calculations that we had when it came to the action. So if you remember back to our action cell, if E35, which is the actual price, is greater than the predicted price, F35, that we want to sell, and then so on and so forth. So what we want to do is we want to add the buffer around this F35, both here and here. And to do so, we're going to go back into the first equation, so under the action column. We're going to place our cursor between the 5 and 35 and the comma, and we are going to type asterisk, and that's going to be multiply. So we're going to multiply the predicted cell by our buffer, which exists in cell I31. So to do that, we're going to do asterisk parentheses, and we're going to do 1 plus the value of the buffer, which is an cell I31. So if you want to click that, you can do so. Okay, and then we're going to close that. And then we're going to move over to the other predicted cell on this side of the equation. We're going to click in between the 5 there and the comma, asterisk, parentheses, 1, and then we want to do minus the buffer cell. Again, and that's the number, not the actual word buffer, which is I31, close parentheses. But before we hit enter, I need you to do one more thing. I need you to go back to the I here. So we have 1 plus I31. I need you to go to the I there and type in a $ before the I and after the I. And I need you to do the same here. $ before the I and after the I. And what that's going to do is when we copy this cell all the way down to the bottom and overwrite the previous equation, we want to make sure that the buffer cell stays the same, that it doesn't move. Because if, as you learned in the last video, if we were to copy and paste or copy down a cell with a formula in it, the formula will change the equation depending on what row it is. And even though we want the E35 and the F35 to change to E36 and F36 and so on and so forth as we move down, we don't want the buffer to move. We want that to stay here. So we put dollar signs around the I in that cell. Okay, so with that, hit enter, and notice how my action changed to hold. Now, your action may have stayed the same, and that's fine. But if you were close, and it's pretty close, it's within 1% here, it's probably going to change. So now I want you to move your mouse over the little black square in the lower right-hand corner, and click and drag this new formula over all the way down and overwriting the previous formulas. And if you did this correctly, you will see a few more holds in the equation. To this point, we probably have 0 holds. Maybe 1 or 2 of you have 1 or 2 holds, but it's most likely going to be 0. Okay. All right, now as we scroll up, you see buy, hold, sell, a lot more holds. And when we go to our summary table, you will see that, as soon as we get there, okay, we now have 354 buys, 451 sells, and 203 holds. Okay. And if you really want to test it out, just go up to your buffer and change the value. Change it to 4%. And notice how the numbers change. Let's change it to 2.6%. Okay, and then this changes. If you're running into a problem, it's probably because you did not put the dollar signs around both sides of the I here in this formula. Okay, and the other issue may be that you did plus twice instead of a plus and a minus. Alright, so hit escape, get out of that. And let's see, we have 7 minutes. Okay, we are going to stop it here, and in our last video, we are going to work on our action and accuracy, or the accuracy of our actions. And that will be the end of this project, minus a 2 to 4 page paper. Oh, hit save.